This video is a beginner's guide to LED Christmas lights using store-bought lights from Home Depot and a couple from Amazon. Super bright, mega bright, ultra bright, no bright, but what should you really be looking for? In this video, we will cover LED Christmas light sizing and spacing and how those contribute to the overall brightness of your display. If you want a more comprehensive video on how to put up Christmas lights around your roof line specifically, I'll link to that video below. This video should serve as a good setup to that more detailed video that you can watch next. Also, real quick, if you want to learn about lawn care when the spring hits, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. I'll help you get the greenest lawn on the block in no time. But for now, come on out to my garage. Let's get lit. Okay, let me start by saying I am not a Christmas light expert. I am just a home gamer that has been putting up Christmas lights for a while, and there's questions I've had over the years, and I hope that this video will help you because you'll probably have some of the same ones. Now, the first thing is here, I'm only going to be talking about lights that have this, what they call the strawberry shape, but to me it looks more like a candle shape. It reminds me more of your old school nightlight. Anybody still have old school nightlights in their house? The old school nightlight looks like a little candle. And so that's what I always considered these to be. But again, online when you search, sometimes they call them strawberry shaped. And the first thing I want to do here is just illustrate the sizing and also show you that sizing is not consistent. In other words, just because something is called C7, it doesn't mean that it's going to be the same size between brands. So I'm not able to define a definitive answer as to what C stands for, but for sure all of these that are in this candle shape or in this strawberry shape, that's what the C means. So when you see the C, you're gonna get that strawberry shape or that candle flame shape. The second thing is the sizes are logical, a C3 being the smaller and C9 being the larger. So when you're looking at this type of lights with this kind of candlelight shape, the bigger the number, the larger the bulb. Now, keep in mind, these are LEDs that we're talking about here, so they're not really a bulb. I'm not an electrician, I'm not gonna get into that, but we are gonna test the brightness here because I think we're gonna see a few things with that as well. Okay, so to make this real easy for you, I'm gonna tell you right now that C7 and C9 are really where you need to go for foundational elements like your roof line. You don't wanna go any smaller than that. And really, C9 is where you should go. C7 works fine too, and I had C7s around my roof line for many years, but once I went to C9s, I was good with it. And as you're gonna see here in a few minutes, not all C9s are the same. Then you have what can be borderline, and that's C6s. I really think these are a little bit too small to go around a roof line, and I'll show you what I'm going to use those for this year. And then there are the C3s. These I do not recommend at all going around any kind of a foundational element. These are a really cool replacement for the old school mini lights, especially outside. I think they would look a little bit better. I don't happen to have any mini lights here, but I will show you some other types of lights that I have that I think these would complement very well based on the shape. We're going to go ahead and do this one on my dirty garage floor, but so here is the C3, and you can see it's got that traditional, candle look. Now these are all considered warm white, and this is one of the things I want to illustrate to you here is warm white is not always the same, and some of that can be due to the shape of the bulb. I'm not an electrician, I'm not an expert. I don't know why something's warmer here, warmer there, whatever, even when they're the same, voltage or whatever. But anyway, that's a lesson right there. When you do choose a brand, you probably want to stick with that exact brand. Get enough for your house, because if you have to buy more later the next year, they may not match. But either way, you can see that is what the C3 looks like. Now here's what they call a raspberry bulb. I really like these a lot. I think these look really cool, and I'm going to use these around my palms and stuff, and I'll show you how I'm going to use them this year. But you can see how the C3 might make a pretty good alternative to the raspberry bulb if you happen to have those. And then these are really popular and really cool. I think these are called domes, and really they're just that square top right there. So I like these because they're more subtle. You'll see these happen to be in a form of a net light, or of a net light setup here, but they kind of have this subtle look to them because there's not a lot of facets. So the fact that the colors don't match aside, you can see how these different shapes could possibly complement one another in your landscape. And actually that's what I'm going to be doing, is I'm going to be using a combination of the C3s and the raspberries around some palms a little bit later on in another video. Okay, now let's just talk about size. Now these are the Home Depot brand Home Accents Holiday. This is like Home Depot's in-house brand. I think they're like the exclusive distributor for it, because you will see here these are C6s, and they are warm white, and they look like this. These are also C6s, warm white, however they look like this. And then you have these are more expensive because they're called ultra bright. These are also C6s, and they look like this. So here are the official particulars from the C3s to the C6s as far as cost goes. You can see that the most expensive are actually the C3s, which are touted as 2 times brighter. Then you have the 2 different C6s coming in at 55 cents per lighted foot. And then finally, the 10 times brighter ultra bright at 81 cents a foot. Now let's get outside and look at them lighted side by side. So these are the same order as you saw them earlier. C3 on the left, C6 faceted, then C6 frosted, and then C6 ultra bright. The other thing to note here is these bulbs are all the same distance apart. That'll be important when we get over to comparing the C9s. I don't have too much of an opinion on which one of these is the best or the best value for the money, but I can tell you those C6 faceted there, they look way too yellow for me. Not only on this camera, the GoPro makes everything look yellow anyway, but to my eye in real life, those C6 faceted really are a yellow color. So I'd stay away from those, but the others would do fine for wrapping trees or wrapping bushes or even putting on your Christmas tree. Okay, next let's move up to C7s. Now, C7 was something I used to see in traditional incandescent, but if you go to Home Depot, there are no C7 LEDs to be found anywhere. They only have the C3, C6, and then they jump to C9. Home Depot brand, which again is this Accents Holiday brand, they do not have a C7. Okay, real quick, the reason I brought this up here is because we need to now go ahead and talk about spacing. The C3s and 6s are 4-inch spaced apart, whereas the C7s and C9s you see here are 8 inches apart, and some C9s are even further apart. Lights that are spaced further apart are probably better on a roof line rather than ones that are closer together, which would be better wrapping a tree trunk or put on your Christmas tree. Either way, the C7 falls kind of in between, and I'll put a link in the description below to the C7s and the C9s that I recommend. Okay, so now I'm going to illustrate my ignorance in electrical things, but I do want to show you just some things I notice here, okay? So these are C9 right here. This is the Home Depot brand, and you'll notice there's no marketing that says double bright, quadruple bright, mega bright, star bright, no bright, right? These, same color box, what the difference that I can see right away is obviously these on the right are a clear housing and these on the left are the faceted housing. But the other thing that I can see is we have marketing here that says these are super bright. In fact, it says they're 2 times brighter. And when you go back to the small print, which I'm not going to do, it says when compared to other Home Depot lights. So the other Home Depot lights I'm assuming you'd compare to would be these, because I don't know of anything further down the line that's a C9 that's not as high end or whatever. So what that's telling you is that these should be 2 times brighter than these. Now, is that just because of the fact that you're going to a clear housing and a faceted housing? Because the sizing appears to be on par with these two here. So that's when we got to go to the back, and this is where my friends that understand electrical things, which I understand nothing about electrical things, this says it's 120 volt, 0.02 amps, 2.4 watts. This one does read a little bit higher, 0.035 amps, 4.2 watts. But there's another thing you need to look at, and I don't know if this matters on the watts or the volts or any of that stuff, but the lighted lengths are different. Both of these have 25 bulbs in them. However, the lighted length of these, the faceted ones, is 14 feet 6 inches. So 14 feet 6 inches out of these. This one, also 25 bulbs, the lighted length is 24 feet. So these are the two that we've been comparing here, and I bring this up just to show once again that the distance between bulbs is going to make a difference, and it's something you want to pay attention to. The spacing on those 2 times super brights there is 12 inches, whereas the spacing between all the other C9s that I have here is between 7 3/4 and 8 inches. So here's the cost per lighted foot with these different lights. The one at the bottom there is from Amazon, and those are the lights that I happen to have that I use at my house. But now let's go outside and look at these things lighted up, and maybe you'll like the cheaper Home Depot lights for your house. So right here, what you have here are the C7s. These are from Wintergreen that I can show you on Amazon, and you can see how those look. And then these are the C9s that are Wintergreen. So you can see them right next to each other. So now let's move over from C7's Wintergreen, C9's Wintergreen, to C9's cheaper Home Depot brand. And from what I can see in these are slightly brighter than those. And again, I don't know how that's going to come across on the camera. Now, the next one we move over to are the C9s here from Home Depot, and these do not have the faceted glass case or plastic case, and so they do look brighter. However, these are the ones with that funky spacing. Look at that. These are 12 inches apart. So just not as stunning looking at all. I tend to like the ones that are tighter together, but you may like ones that are further apart, but to me they don't look as good that way. these are the ultra brights or the 12 times brighter, and you can definitely see that they are. I realize that everything's looking a little yellow in here. They don't look yellow to me, to my eye. I just think that's the way the camera's rendering these. And it could be because of those lights up there, I'm not sure. But either way, you can see these are definitely brighter. Even with the glass here, non-faceted, both of those, they are definitely brighter. Now, the good news here is they did bring these back. These are 8 inches apart. So interestingly enough, with their more expensive or their, you know, I guess top of the line, they bring these to the 8-inch spacing.
I know this video is getting long, but I went ahead and broke out my Sony camcorder, which doesn't add so much yellow to the frame. And this is a little bit closer to what all of these lights look like with the naked eye.
Okay, now in the interest of being thorough, I wanted to just show you these on the board. Now again, it makes everything look a little bit yellow. But if you're somebody that puts your lights up against your house, you can see that the ones that are non-faceted do put out a nice little color spray there. One other thing I've noticed, and this must have something to do with some sort of a flicker speed or something, electricians let me know below, but the cheaper ones, when I move the camera, and I'm shooting here at 60 frames per second, but you'll notice the cheaper lights, parts of the camera lose them. See that? These are the cheaper lights right here. See how the camera loses the light? I don't know if that's just something to do with how these are cheaper lights or what, because see, it doesn't happen. Here's the more expensive ones, and see, it doesn't lose the light on those. And same down here. See how it loses the light on these right there? Look, loses the light, and then you come down here and it'll loses the light. Look at that. But then these are the 2 times brighter. It doesn't lose the light on those. No matter what I do, it always gets the light. See that? Isn't that weird? So you'll see it up here too. These are also the cheaper ones. So watch this as we're coming across. Here we go, ready? We'll see. There, look, see it? It's lost the light on those right there. Oh, there it just came back. There, it loses them again. Here's the good quality ones. It doesn't lose the light on those. So I don't know, you guys can tell me, why does it do that? Is it because I'm shooting in 60 frames per second? That's the only thing I can imagine.